Terrace mentioned that his girlfriend is a meteorologist and she helps him track the best times to shoot fog in time-lapse.
Thanks, Rachel. As we look across the country, we are going to see a more active pattern in the west. We'll be breaking that down for you. Ontario through Quebec, quiet conditions today, but Newfoundland, you are dealing with some lingering showers and gusty winds are on the way. You know what else that's on the way? Halloween. And with that, we'll throw it over to Nicole Karkic with this edition of Scarier Weather. Thanks, Nathan. Krissy Vann along with you. I think that impressive pumpkin puts the one I carved to shame. Let's talk about active weather, though. Newfoundland today, you do have some lingering showers. And yeah, the winds are going to be picking up as we travel overnight. Certainly seeing some strong gusts along coastal areas. 12 in St. John's this afternoon with that rainfall. Halifax at 8. So single-digit highs throughout the Maritimes. Same goes for you in Quebec. Montreal, mix of sun and cloud reaching just 8 degrees. Ontario, fairly quiet. High pressure is in place, but we have a weak disturbance bringing some rain through Sault Ste. Marie and overnight Sudbury. Just be aware some slick conditions. You are looking at periods of mixing. As for temperatures this afternoon, 10 degrees in the city of Toronto. Kapuskasing, though, overcast skies and just 3. The big story is going to be coming midweek, where we have the remnants of Patricia and an Alberta Clipper moving in. Some areas looking at 30 to 50 millimeters of rain. And Jacqueline Woodall will join the show in a moment explaining that situation, but overall you can see that this low is going to sweep right across eastern Canada, so a stormy finale. Let's take a look at Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Gorgeous sunrise there. Looking to the west, we are drying out in Vancouver, 13 degrees, still some rainfall in the lower Fraser Valley, and overall we are in a setup of an active pattern to the west. We will break that down for you, but right now we join Jacqueline Woodall with more on this fall storm we're expecting midweek. So the moisture of Patricia certainly hasn't helped. Let's take a look at our developing stories for the hour, talking more about that fall storm. But in the west coast, a parade of systems moving in, and we will have scarier weather, all your Halloween-themed photos. This afternoon, 13 in Vancouver, 11 in Calgary, 8 in Winnipeg with a sun-cloud mix. St. John's sitting at that 12-degree mark. And you'll notice for areas like Ottawa, Fredericton, into the single digits. So certainly some fresher air coming into play. Winds are really going to become the story for you in Newfoundland as we progress into late day overnight out of the northwest, and they are going to be very gusty. Let's take a look at Halifax, Nova Scotia. Fall colors. As Jacqueline was talking, we are expecting quite the classic fall storm setup. The tropical moisture from Patricia phasing together with this Alberta Clipper. By Wednesday, this moves into Ontario, bringing substantial rain, very strong gusty winds, and it is going to progress eastward by late week. And in behind that, we're going to see much cooler air moving in. As for rainfall totals that can be expected in southern Ontario, 30 to 50 millimeters. Basically, when you look at your icons on your Weather Network app, you're going to see 100% chance of precipitation. Meanwhile, in the west, you are in a drying trend, so Vancouver clearing out today, but we are seeing a clipper form, and that's going to mean some active weather across the prairies that will continue to break down for you coming up. As well, we'll have news in a minute. But let's dive into your forecast details. For southern Ontario today, 10 degrees in Toronto, 5 in Timmins. Weak disturbance bringing some rain to Sault Ste. Marie, sitting at 7, and Sudbury. You can expect a period of mixing as we travel into the overnight hours and temperatures dip. The real story for the east is going to ramp up as we progress into midweek. So by Wednesday, we do have a potent system moving in, very classic fall system. It's a combination of the remnant moisture of Patricia with an Alberta Clipper, so we can expect some very strong gusty winds with this as well. This afternoon in the Maritimes, though, cool, single-digit highs, although a mix of sun and cloud, and we are seeing those lingering showers for you in St. John, sitting at 12 degrees. We're also looking at some gusty winds today, and just be aware that tomorrow, areas along the peninsula could be dealing with some sea effect snow. Let's take a look at Halifax, Nova Scotia, though, where this is quite a feat. Nathan Coleman through the hour joins us and tells us just how much that pumpkin weighs, but now I can't even post my pumpkin picture. My carving this weekend being put to shame. Let's talk about this system, though, the classic fall system. We have this tropical moisture that's going to be tracking northward. Of course, it was impacting areas like Texas and Louisiana over the weekend. phases together with the Alberta Clipper. That is your Wednesday, basically a 100% chance of precipitation, and then it is going to move through Quebec and Atlantic Canada through the week. Here you go, 15 degrees Wednesday, so we do get a warm up, but 100% chance of that rainfall. Hamilton as well, you'll notice you warm up with this system, but on the backside, cooler air is going to be funneling in. And Halifax, this is a Thursday story for you. You jump up to 17 degrees, but with that rainfall, I'm not too sure how much you're going to be able to enjoy that warm up. Good news is for St. John's, you go from just 4 degrees for your Tuesday and Wednesday to 13 by the time you hit midweek. All right, coming up next hour, we're going to have scarier weather, and up next, we're going to have another edition of Around the World in 60 seconds. Videos of your Halloween decorations, hashtag scarier weather, send them in to Nicole Karkic. You could see them here. Looking across the country today, we are just seeing some lingering rainfall in the Fraser Valley, the BC interior. As for Ontario, high pressure in place through to Quebec, and then lingering showers for you in Newfoundland. We're St. John's sitting at 12 degrees, Winnipeg at 8 with a mix of sun and cloud. And as we head into Prince George, sun cloud mix and sitting at 6 degrees. Now, as we look in through this week for the west, we are going to be seeing an Alberta Clipper system form. So you'll notice some elevation snowfall involved in this along the foothills, elevation levels around 1,000 to 1,500 meters. But things really get interesting as we head through midweek, where we'll have a parade of low pressure systems moving into coastal BC, and your heaviest bout of rain coming for Friday, where South Coast you could be looking at 50 millimeters on tap. Otherwise, our next big story is in the east, where the remnant moisture of Hurricane Patricia moves into Ontario, phases together with an Alberta Clipper, going to bring significant rainfall as well as strong gusty winds right throughout the east. And then behind it, much cooler air. Coming up, an update from Nathan Coleman. Thanks, Chris. Krissy Vann with you, looking at our developing stories. A big fall storm on the way this week. A West Coast parade, not the fun kind, and scare your weather, a feature leading into Halloween. Let's start off in Trois-Rivières, Quebec, where a gorgeous sunrise was the scene. Just stunning video there. And we so appreciate you sending in your photos and videos. Of course, you can make a free account at theweathernetwork.com. Let's talk about some of the systems in the country. We do have rain still in the lower mainland, the Fraser Valley. That clears out through the day. Patchy fog in the prairies. Fairly quiet in the east, aside of some lingering showers for you in Newfoundland. This afternoon, 13 in Vancouver, 11 in Calgary, 10 in Toronto, and 12 for you in St. John's. And looking at places like Ottawa, just sitting in the single digits. All right, let's catch up with our friend Nathan Coleman joining us in Atlantic Canada. Thanks, Nathan. I carved this weekend, so I'm up for the challenge. Quiet in the Maritimes today, although cooler. Showers remain in the Avalon, and through tomorrow, we are looking at some sea effect snow in the northern peninsula. As for temperatures, 4 in St. John, 3 in Sydney, and again, that lingering rain in St. John's at 6. As we look at your Monday in Ontario, we have high pressure in place. However, a weak disturbance could bring some mixing to Sudbury overnight, as well as a bit of rain to Sault Ste. Marie today. Otherwise, Toronto, 7 degrees by the evening hours. Your big story ramps up midweek, where we are looking at a classic fall storm bringing lots of rain as well as lots of wind. We'll also talk about the active systems moving in through the west coming up, as well as scarier weather. Thanks, Rachel. As we look across the country, we are going to see a more active pattern in the west. We'll be breaking that down for you. Ontario through Quebec, quiet conditions today, but Newfoundland, you are dealing with some lingering showers, and gusty winds are on the way. You know what else that's on the way? Halloween. And with that, we'll throw it over to Nicole Karkic with this edition of Scarier Weather. All right, Kelly, we're going to get to the Halloween forecast in this long ranger, but we have to talk about this system moving in for midweek. And really, we have active weather in 2 locations in the country.
Yeah, Krissy, you can see, even just looking at this map, your eyes are really drawn right over Ontario. So we have a big fall-like system bringing in heavier downpours, gusty winds, some cooler air on the back end. And like you said as well, unsettled for the BC coast.
So as we look at this system in regards to temperatures at the time, we are going to be seeing some warm conditions conditions ahead of the storm, but afterwards quite a cool down for the east.
Yeah, because we are seeing some of that moisture kind of originate in the tropics. It is helping to pull up some milder temperatures as it tracks into Ontario and into Atlantic Canada. So you can see those milder temperatures right there, but what's to follow, Krissy? Cooler temperatures.
And by Halloween, that's when Atlantic Canada is going to be seeing those cooler conditions. So we look across the country, these are the normal highs. And before this, you and I were talking last year for Halloween. I was sent to Sudbury, where I ended up knee-deep in snow. So let's talk a little bit about what we can expect this year.
I remember seeing those pictures, Krissy, and fortunately, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be seeing kind of that amount of snow, but there are going to be some cooler temperatures moving in for Halloween. And taking a look at Saturday, temperatures, across Western Canada, not too bad. Seasonal or even a little bit above.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the dividing line, Thunder Bay and East. That's where we will have the cooler air, so you'll want to add a layer under the kids' costumes. As for active systems, we are looking at a little bit of sea effect snowfall in Newfoundland, and then the West, quite unsettled.
Yeah, definitely a series of systems moving in for BC this week into the weekend, so definitely want to have some rain gear prepared for BC for Halloween. And keeping an eye on Ontario. So there is a system stateside that we'll be watching for Ontario into Halloween.
Perfect. Thanks for the analysis, Kelly.